Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Thursday, July 23rd, 2020. Sorry if you heard a pause. Again, my MacBook never tells me when the video starts recording, so I kind of have to estimate at that point. And sometimes it'll cut off or sometimes it'll be late. But today we're talking about Florida, and the reason why we're talking about Florida is because the first time, ever, Florida has mimicked the national popular vote polling data. Now, if we look at the overall national average, Joe Biden leads by 7.9%. Yes, this is down from around 9 to 10% just 2 weeks ago, but a 7.9% lead on a nationwide level against an incumbent president isn't anything to laugh at. I don't think that Biden's numbers were going to maintain around 10% through Election Day. A 10% margin of victory for Joe Biden would have been a landslide election. But now he leads by 7.9%, which is actually only 0.4 higher than Joe Biden's lead in the state of Florida. You see, the weird thing about Florida is it typically votes to the right of the national popular vote. When I say that's weird, it's because it's a very much swing state, and usually the popular vote is also a swing vote. The Republicans or Democrats usually have the same chance at being able to win the popular vote. Mitt Romney and John McCain, if they had won the election, they likely would have won the popular vote as well. But in 2016, Donald Trump lost the popular vote despite winning the Electoral College. So Florida mimicking the national popular vote is not a good sign whatsoever. Back in 2016, let's go ahead and take a look at where the numbers were just 4 years ago. Donald Trump led on Election Day by 0.2% and ended up winning by 1.2%. So if we adjust these polls that we have for 2020 by the incorrect margin in 2016, Biden still wins Florida by 6.5%, a very solid margin to say the least. And the thing is, though Trump was leading in Florida, he did not lead on the national popular vote. If we take a look at the, Trump versus Biden nationwide polls right now, Biden leads by 8.7% according to Real Clear Politics and 7.9% according to FiveThirtyEight. We're going to stick with FiveThirtyEight because that's how I would like to go ahead and use that. But, back in 2016, Hillary Clinton only led by I believe 3.2% on Election Day, 3.1%, somewhere around there. She ended up winning the popular vote by 2.1%. So the popular vote numbers were pretty much spot on. They were off by around a percentage. So adjusting for that, Biden would still likely win the popular vote today. But Florida was not near the popular vote. It was around a 3-point swing of a difference between the popular vote margin for Hillary Clinton and then the Florida vote margin for Donald Trump. And, swung 3% based off polls and 3% based off the actual results. So Florida mimicking the national popular vote is something that we really did not expect for this election cycle. The fact that Joe Biden now has a commanding lead in Florida is pretty substantial. You see, this headline would be very different if Joe Biden was leading by 3-4% nationwide. It's not unheard of for a candidate to take a 3 to 4% lead in a swing state. It's possible, and on Election Day in 2016, Donald Trump was led by around 4% in states like Ohio and 5% in Ohio. Why did I repeat Ohio? In Georgia, 4% in Arizona. So that may not have been too unlikely. But the fact that Joe Biden is leading in a state that Donald Trump carried in 2016 by a larger margin than Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. You'll just see why I'm mentioning those states in just a moment. A 7.5% lead is truly insane. The fact that Joe Biden is at 50% and Trump is still at 42%, yeah, that's a warning sign and a half. So if we go ahead and take a look at Wisconsin, let's take a look at the data we have now. Joe Biden leads Donald Trump more in Florida than Wisconsin. Let's go ahead and take a look at Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania actually is pretty solid for the Biden campaign on Real Clear Politics, but the margin is the exact same as Wisconsin. It's all within the same ballpark, and Florida looks like might vote to the left of Pennsylvania. I think Michigan is probably, I expected it to be the only one that was outperforming the numbers in Florida, but it looks like, based off these numbers, it looks like Donald Trump is performing better in these 3 states, and Joe Biden is outperforming these 3 states, his margin in these 3 states in Florida. So if we look at the margins in 2016, let's go ahead and take a look at what they were. Sure, these were 3 tilt states, and this was a lean state. But you also have to realize Florida also went red in 2018 in the House of Representatives. On the Senate level, actually flipped from blue to red in a Democratic wave year, and the governorship went to the Democratic Party. This state itself should have been more solid for Donald Trump than these 3 Rust Belt states. This is not saying that Biden will win Florida and Trump will win the Rust Belt. He's still losing by a likely margin in all 4 of these states, which just adds an additional 29 electoral votes to the Biden column. Because we know if Florida is probably going to go blue, if Florida goes blue, we very well could see same type of support in states such as Arizona or possibly, a narrower Texas. Joe Biden's ability to flip some of these whiter voters and Hispanic voters in states such as Florida and Arizona and Texas will likely flip some of these states based off the data we have. It does indicate that. And Texas probably will be narrower than before. And I think it is always interesting. At a point in time, I used to characterize Florida for the Republicans all the time. Okay, it's still very much voting to the left of the other states that I characterize. I usually have Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania as likely, and then Florida is either tilt or lean. But now it looks like, based off all of the data, that Florida might actually be voting to the left of these three states, to the left of Arizona, to the left of Nevada, which is very surprising to say the least. Let's take a look at Biden's lead in Nevada. I actually think he has a pretty strong lead. I could be wrong about that one. It's a 6.6% lead. That's not too strong, but it's still a pretty dominating lead. He led by around 8.4%. I think a new poll got released that showed him only ahead by 4%. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that one too much, not because it doesn't agree with what I believe in. If you look at, the polls that have just been released, I got actually a message about one of them. And if you look on the pollster's official Twitter page, I believe they called Ilhan Omar a terrorist on their official poll page. Now, I understand some people may feel that way, but putting that on your company's Twitter page, that just screams like, right-wing bias automatically. But besides that, looking at these Nevada numbers, I mean, it is pretty important to note that somehow, I don't even know what happened this election season, Biden is having a stronger lead in Florida than a number of other swing states. In fact, you can see it here. Biden's up by 7 in Florida, but, up by 2 in North Carolina, 6 in Wisconsin, 7 in Pennsylvania, 3 in Arizona. If we look, let's go ahead and take a look at the most recent poll that was released. It's from St. Pete's polls. Biden only led here, I believe, by, we can't actually see. The last time they had a poll here, Biden only led by 1% back in May of 2020. And 2 months later, he comes out with a 6-point lead. And that's not even the most important thing we have to see. The Quinnipiac University poll, it's a B-rated pollster, so it's not, 100% accurate, but it does have as good of a rating as a number of these other respected pollsters. Quinnipiac, Biden plus 13%. I mean, Biden never took that type of lead in this state. His largest lead before then was an 11-point margin of victory back in early June. Now we're entering into late July, and Biden is starting to get a double-digit lead in the state, regaining that very momentous lead that he had in the past. Trump even led at some point in time, but since then, there's no data since March, when he had his little approval bump since March that shows Biden losing to Donald Trump in the state of Florida. Again, like I said, Biden is not doing as good as in Wisconsin as he is in Florida, or even actually Michigan seems to be. Let's go ahead and see. Yeah, Michigan seems to be narrowly ahead, but not on 538. In Pennsylvania, underperforming. Florida, North Carolina, Arizona. I know Minnesota doesn't have any interesting polls, I don't think. Yeah, I think it's just 12, 5, and 16. I don't think anyone's really focusing on that race this time around. They might need to if the race does narrow up, but it looks like, Biden is doing very well in a number of these states. Like I said, when I mentioned Florida has a very same type of demographic as Texas. Both are very large with their minority populations, typically Hispanic voters, on top of their white, more Romney-esque type Republicans that have since, put a lot of their support in the Biden campaign. We're seeing Texas narrow up. We're seeing Florida narrow up. We're seeing Arizona narrow up. All of these states that were Republican in 2016 have a very real possibility of going to Joe Biden. In fact, Texas only has Trump ahead by 0.2%. This is a warning sign because in 2012, the numbers were accurate. Okay, Romney actually underperformed the margin. Donald Trump underperformed the 2016 polling numbers. He had a 12-point lead, won by 9%. Now, looking at the 2020 data, Trump leads by 0.2% and down 1% in the most recent poll. If he underperforms the margin that Romney did, still loses. If he underperforms the margin that he did in 2016, absolutely loses. So Trump should have a pretty strong lead in Texas on election day. The polls actually aren't too far off from the actual results based off of, the historical accuracy. Not just 2012, but let's go back in 2008, 13-point lead for McCain. He ended up winning by 12%. So we're actually seeing a very consistent trend that Republicans are underperforming their numbers. If we take a look at the 2018 Senate election data, the Republicans did underperform there. At points in time, Cruz led by 7, 8, 9%. Yes, Beto O'Rourke seemed to be a rising star in the Democratic Party, but it was still classified as Texas. Why would this be competitive? Throughout the entire evening, Beto O'Rourke led up until around the time when a number of Republican precincts came in, but he still ended up only losing by 2%. So Texas definitely showed a number of signs turning blue in 2018, or at least turning purple. Maybe not a safe Democratic state, but if Biden has a 13-point lead on Election Day in Florida, you can almost guarantee he's probably going to pick up Texas, which I think, just a couple of months ago, if I had said that, I would have thought that I was crazy. But based off all of the numbers that we see, it doesn't look like Trump is going to have too strong of a lead in Texas, or possibly not even come close in Florida, a state that he carried. So if we're talking about, the Rust Belt states, if Florida goes blue, that negates the entire need for the Rust Belt if Biden is able to flip another swing state. Whether that's North Carolina or Arizona, probably Arizona, that could very well put him over the top to 270. Because if we characterize all of the states from 2016 that Hillary Clinton carried, forget the Rust Belt. Biden wins the election based off that alone. Okay, so let's go ahead and characterize Maine's 2nd district, and then Virginia, D.C., I think I'm forgetting one. Yeah, Hawaii. So 272. That's with just 2 states, Florida and Arizona, turning blue. Biden doesn't need the Rust Belt. Okay? If anything, the numbers right now, Florida seems to be more likely to go blue than any of the Rust Belt states, which I think is very surprising. And that's based purely off polling data. I don't agree with that. But the numbers sometimes don't really lie. And based off 2016, even though a lot of people say the polls were wrong, they weren't. The media portrayed them incorrectly, but the polls themselves were not wrong. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment down suggestions below. Subscribe on the left if you haven't already. There should be a little circle on your screen that you can go ahead and click. And on your screen, there should be a video that you can go ahead and watch, and then a playlist for my 2020 election predictions. My Instagram and Twitter are on the screen too. It's Let's Talk Elect for Instagram and LT Elections for Twitter. Again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow. Nope, later today.